Hey everyone, it's your favorite Unk One Guy here coming at you with a deck tech. This time we are talking about our third version of the Barbados Lupus deck. It is purple-white. We did add some minor changes to the deck, and I believe these changes really were a key focal point in which we were able to take top with our locals. So that was the goal, was to top with his deck. And now that we did, let's see what other types or what other colors can we do with Barbados Lupus, since we kind of get the gist of what we need. But if you are enjoying my content, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you didn't like. Let me know what you were like, oh hey, that's a really good idea. Thanks, Unk, you're the best. And I greatly appreciate your guys' input. I do my best to record at least a duck tech once a week. This time we are going to talk about this deck. So let's get to it. Here is the old deck list. As you can see there, I mean, you're going to see that there's like hardly any changes. But again, I feel like this change that I did was very impactful. So let's talk about stuff that we picked though. So we're running for Gray's Custom 2-1-2-2 Tekiden. So again, a lot of the units here are all Tekiden based or Tewas because Lupus does require them to be that. So that way we can get its effect off. And we want to, when it does drop, to at least do it 3 times. We want to be able to do it 3 times. So technically a total of 6 damage to any unit, whether it be one big unit or whether it be scattered throughout the little units, and then using our own units to kind of trade into those units. So that way, if they do die, we're able to activate its effect again. So next, we are running 3 Ryusei Go Gray's Custom 2. It is a 3-2-2-2. It does have the Tekiden trait, so keep that in mind if you ever need a quick link. So it does link with Mika, and it does have the Tekiden name right in its thing. What it does on deploy, you get to choose one of your units. You deal 1 damage to it. If you do, you draw a card, discard a card. Again, we do want to filter out our grave, so this looting effect is phenomenal. Next, we are running the most expensive card in this deck, in my opinion. It is the Barbados First Form. Now, do you need this card to be competitive? In my opinion, yes. So the reason why is because you need it for the card draw, right? Because it replenishes your hand when you do a Mika, so you're not, the -1 isn't so huge, because obviously if you play this and Mika, you're at like a -2, so then it becomes a -1 in your hand, so it's not the worst, right? It is a 3-2-3-2, and when it attacks, if this unit is damaged, you draw a card. There was a game that I played where I was able to draw 3 cards off of this guy because my opponent, while he was throwing blockers, the changes that we did make to the deck made it so where the Barbados Lupus does live. And we do like that, because if not, we would have only been able to draw 1. Next, we are running 4 of the Hyakurin. I do apologize for the butchering of the name. I'm not great at my Japanese, so if you guys can help your old Unk out, please do. But it is a 3-2-4-3. It does have the Tewas trait. So again, because Lupus does require you to have a Tekiden or Tewas, this works. It is technically a purple Rizel, so definitely great. And then people still use Rizel, even though there are burn cards in this format. Next, we are running 2 of the Barbados Second Form. It does link to Mika. It is a 2-4-4-2, and then when this unit is damaged, it gets 2 AP. So ideally, you want it to ping it for 1 to make it a 4-3, just like the Rizel, but at the same time, if you throw a Mika in, it becomes a 6-5, and that's great. No, 6-4, and that's even better. Next, we are running the next card I feel that is very important in this deck. It is the Barbados Adept. What it is a 4-2-2-4, links with Mika, and then on deploy you get to choose one of your units, and then one of the enemy units, and then you deal 1 damage to both of them. Again, this helps activate your second form and your first form, your fourth form. You can use it on itself as well. It doesn't matter. The thing is, it helps you with the numbers as well, because there are some units that have 5 HP, and unfortunately, if you do use Lupus and you end up using it 3 times, it is 6 HP against a 5 AP. You are losing 1 point of damage, and in this type of game, points of damage, it can factor in and change the outcome of the match itself, in my opinion. Next, we are running 4 of the Gundam Gujin Rebake. It is a 5-4-3-5 Link's Rocky Hero, and the key thing is that it is a blocker. And on deploy, you get to choose one of your units, and then you choose an enemy unit, and you deal 1 damage to them both. Again, this is kind of similar to the Adept, where you're pinging for the numbers. Sometimes if you drop 2 of these bad boys, or if you drop this and the Adept, you're able to clear off a 2-drop body, and that's very great against the aggro matchup. Again, by turn 5, though, we're hoping that that's not really a case. Next, we are running 2 of the Gundam Barbados 4th form. It is a 6-4-4-5, does link with Mika, and on deploy, you get to choose one of your units, and you deal 1 damage to it, and then that unit gets 1 AP this turn. So unfortunately, you cannot pick itself, but if you have 2 of these bad boys, you can pick the other one to get it to +1, and then when it's damaged, it gets suppression. So that's very important. This is the catch-up, suppression is the catch-up mechanic. It's great in this deck because, again, since you're trying to get... you're trying to be aggressive with the lower end units, but then by the time you do get to turn 6, sometimes you're a little bit behind, and so you do need that suppression to catch up. There was a game that I played against Blorple where I had suppression. I was able to get it off twice against my opponent because I was able to use the suppression on his shields, and I was able to clear his bodies because he did run a lot of weenies with the other stuff in our arsenal. So this card is amazing. If I could, I would run it to 3, but again, we would need to then take out this new card that we're playing for that, and I don't want to do that because this is the Gundam Gushin Rebake Full City. It is a 6-5-5-4 Link's to Hero, but we don't care about that. We care about the fact that it is a blocker. So in grand total, we are running 6 blockers. Again, at the high end, unfortunately, but still, you do need at least some sort of blockers to help this deck out so it doesn't just kind of die against aggro or other units as well. But the effect is during pair, once per turn. During your turn, if one of your Tekiden or Tewa's unit receives effect damage, choose an enemy unit that's level 4 or lower, and then you just rest it. So it's great to rest things, and because we are pinging ourselves a lot, the effect does happen very often. Last unit we're going to talk about today, or at least in this deck, is the king himself, the Barbados Lupus. It is a 7-6-5-5. It does link to Mika. And the important thing is the activate domain. You get to choose 3 Tekiden or Tewa's unit cards from your trash, exile them from the game. If you do, choose 1 enemy unit and you deal 2 damage to it. So it's great. This is great for clearing off 1 big body, because again, you want to get it when it drops. You want to get at least have 9 Tekiden or Tewa's units in the grave, whether it be through them just dying naturally or even from the shield itself. So just bear in mind that that does power up Lupus. So don't be afraid to lose some shields. Okay, guys? This guy's amazing. Linking with Mika is great, but sometimes you want to link to the other pilot that we do play with. That way you can give him the bigger body, because you do want him to stay on the field as long as possible. Also, you also don't want to blow your load with him, in my opinion. When you do end up pinging things, you want to make sure that you're at least swinging in and taking out at least half their shields or getting close to game. That way, their comeback against this card isn't as heavy. Because once you lose him and you aren't able to get enough value off of him, then you pretty much just gave up the game. So just bear that in mind. As someone who's been playing this deck for a while, that's something I've noticed. Don't blow your load, which is harder to say than others, right? Next, we're going to talk about the pilots. So, we're running for Mika. Mika is a 4-1-2-1 pilot. When paired, you get to choose one of your units and one of your enemy units, and you deal 1 damage to them. So, we can, in theory, with Barbados, Mika, and the other cards, we're, in theory, able to do at least 5 damage to 1 unit, which is great, because that means you're taking out L Strike before it can block. You're taking out the new G-Quacks. You're taking out you're almost close to taking out Zeta Gundam, but without you can take out Zeta Gundam without the link, but if it has a link, you can't take them out. But you get close, right? But this card's amazing. I really like it. Again, because we're running all these Barbies, you do need your Ken. So let Mika be your Ken. The next guy we're gonna talk about is the Heart Gillette. I believe that's how you pronounce it, but I don't know. He is a 5/1 2/2, and then when paired, you get to place 2 cards from your deck to your trash. And if you accidentally put a Vegan, which again, you're only running technically 2 Vegan cards after you play this card in your deck, so the chances of that is unlikely, you get to give something -2 AP this turn. The reason why we're running this card is for the self-mill. 2 cards into the grave for 1 is phenomenal, right? Because technically, if you were to link it and then mill 2 units, and then the unit that you linked it with dies, that's technically 3 right there in the grave to activate Lupus. Next, we're going to go for the commands. We are running the Great Change that I put in, 3 Unforeseen. So I took out a Look of Determination. While Look of Determination was a 2/2, and you're able to kill something level 2, and if you had 10 things in your trash, level 4, which would have been great. But unfortunately, in my meta, there wasn't a lot of cards that were a lot of rush aggro. They were mainly we play a lot of mid game, it looks like. So this card is great for the mid game. You can use this offensively, defensively, and also because it has Mika. That's the reason why we're running this art. I believe this card is really great. So can't and shouldn't leave home without if you're running white. I know sometimes I'm not running that card, but 9 times out of 10, you should definitely be running Unforeseen. Next, we're going to talk about the draw engine that we have. The only draw package is 3, a new sign. This one is draw 3, discard 2. But wait a minute. We are, why we're playing Graceful Charity and not the other one? Well, fellow, it's because of the draw 3. Right? Again, you're able to see more of your deck. And again, we need to see Lupus in our hand. Because if we don't see Lupus, then chances are we don't win because we're filling our grave for nothing. Right? So again, you want to draw 3 and to discard 2. Again, same thing with the Zahart. You're drawing and you're trying to throw away 2 units. Or 2, maybe a new sign and something else. Or another card that you're not really needing. So that way you can power up and charge your Lupus. And finally, we're going to talk about the base. We are running 4 Izarabi. So we're not running the other one only because while we do ping ourselves a lot, I feel like without the Barbados 5th form or the one that pings itself for 2 constantly when it hits the field, you're not going to be able to activate its effect as often as you would like. So Izarabi helps you though by getting the numbers because on the activate your main, you can choose one enemy, you can choose one damage unit you control, and it gets +2 AP. So again, helps out with the numbers, and that's what we need. We need this to kind of like surprise sneak our opponent when they do play a lot of blockers. So with that being said, that is the deck. I'm going to post the new deck list right here, and I will be coming back with this. So I believe this deck is amazing. It is amazing. It's a lot of fun. A bit trickier to pilot, but once you do kind of get some repetitions in, the deck is flawless. Again, I was able to get top 3 with this. The only thing I did lose to was the O, and that was because just he had a lot more blockers than I can throw bodies at it. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the Barbados off to clear out the board, because he was able to establish a way bigger board than I did by the time our boy came out to play. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please, if you are enjoying my content, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I try my best to do at least one deck tech a week. The next deck tech is going to be a Zaf profile, only because the new starter deck is coming out. So I was like, let me get used to playing with Zaf. I want to play purple-red Zaf. Right now it is red-white Zaf because I'm also running Kira's and L Strikes because it's Seed. Why not? Right? Again, please take this deck with a grain of salt if you can. Add some changes, do it. and then let me know. You know, I'm always curious to see what other colors can pair well with this purple Lupus deck. I did know that top 3 did make, or the winner of the World's Championship for Gundam did play purple, and then on his side he pretty much had this engine or this core on the ready to flip the deck to become something different and to take it to the mid game. So that's kind of cool. Again, guys, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.